Hello guys. So welcome to another weekly Forex Weekly Outlook, episode 7. Okay, for the third of June to the 27th of June. All right. So as usual, without much further ado, we know that we always start with the fundamentals here in Swing for Pips. From the fundamentals, we go to the monthly, the weekly, the daily, and the 4 hour. All right, we do this every time in this channel because here we are swing traders. We swing and we chill. Okay, so as usual, this week we'll be looking at the DXY, the AUD/USD, the USD CAD, the USD ZAR, JPY, and so on. These are the pairs we'll be looking at for this week. And we've actually been following up on this pair as they progress, as they develop over time. I think for more than a month now, I've been following these pairs, all right, because these are the ones that have been most promising and they've been giving us some very good price structure to follow. All right, so the first on the list that we'll always look at, of course, we'll always look at the DXY because the DXY, which is the dollar index, is the king of all currencies. So we must give him his due respect. Okay, so of course, like I earlier mentioned, we always start with the fundamentals. All right, and the data points I'm actually looking at more for the fundamentals, actually the DXY, because the DXY is actually the center of attention right now, and that's where the most the most promising data for price is actually coming out from. That's the US, that's the Federal Reserve. We're looking at what the data they've been releasing and the reports that have been coming out of the US. All right, so what we have had on Friday, that's for the month of June so far. Okay, we've had some very, very promising reports. I won't say promising, but some key reports, some key indicators as to what price may be doing in the foreseeable future, which is we're looking at on the 6th, we had the non-farm payroll, which I said came out negative. All right. And then CPI also, I won't say it's negative, but there was actually like a cut on the CPI report. And then the next data that was actually very interesting was, can you see this data right here? The retail sales, all right, which came out last week. Okay, the retail sale, which came out negative 0.3, all right, and negative 0.9. And so the next on the list is actually the FOMC reports. So you can see that the lineup of the data reports that have been coming out have been negative for the US, added to the negative GDP we've had in the past, okay, which further buttress the fact that we should keep selling the USD. All right. Yes, we've been getting some decent price action to the upside, but it's not something that's going to be sustainable for the long time. So fundamentally speaking, like we've established the last time, the USD is headed south. Okay, so what we had for the FOMC report was this. I just want to draw your attention to something very quickly. That's the FOMC report. You don't have to go through all. This is a very concise report, but I'm taking my time to highlight the most key, as the key statement from this report, which is the unemployment rate remains low and labor market condition remains solid. Inflation remains somewhat elevated. So these are the key takeaway from this report. All right, the committee is strongly committed to supporting maximum employment data and returning inflation to its 2% objective. So one thing to consider here is that, look, if their key indicator here right now, and where their focus is, where their attention is right now, of all the data reports and all the indicators in the fundamental space for the DXY is the employment data, all right, and that's the labor market, all right. They are trying to gauge the performance of the labor market to give them a hint as to the decision-making process that will take place, going further into the upcoming economic cycles that are coming, and either are they going to increase rates, are they going to cut rates going forward. But however, the takeaway here is that they are actually looking at the unemployment data as one of the key indicators. Okay, they've actually dealt with inflation for, at least the inflation is very close to 2% right now coming from the US. Okay, so they've actually made, as gained some grounds in that regards. However, the key takeaway from this report is the employment data. All right, so we're going to see more impact coming from the employment data going forward. So without much further ado, we're going to go straight into the chart and let's see what the charts have for us, okay? So of course, the number one thing is that we always look at the DXY. The DXY, like I said, is the king of all currencies, and we always start with that. So come with me as we take a look at the charts, okay? So what we have right here in front of us is the DXY. All right, so like we established from our former reports, okay, that the DXY is king, and we always start the analysis from the DXY. So we established from the last time, our last series, that the DXY is on the monthly, it is bullish. Okay, from this you can see that this line is still being, this trend line right here is still being sustained to the upside. Okay, and then we have the weekly. The weekly also we established that it is bullish, all right, because it has taken out this low right here. It has taken out this low right here, all right, and it has come into this region here. Okay, so we may be getting some push to the upside. We never know. So we keep our fingers crossed to see what's going to happen. You can see that we had this price action, this two candle price action right here from last week. This thing from last week trading, we had this two candle price action, so maybe expecting some bullish push to the upside. Okay, so we always act accordingly as price gives us the hints as to where it wants to go to. All right, so we go to the daily. Consider the daily is also still bearish because this trend line is still being maintained. It has not been taken out yet. It's still being maintained. Okay, and then we go to the 4 hour. Okay, so the 4 hour right here is still bearish. However, we had this trend line coming down here. Okay, this trend line coming down here. Okay, we can see that it's actually broken the trend line here, but it is yet to eliminate this supply area. Okay, so when it does that, then we can say it is bullish, but for now, it remains bearish. So there's something that we always look at when we start our analysis, which is this. Okay, I've taken my time to draw out this table here already. So take your time to look at it. Okay, I've summarized the analysis from this table. So take a mental picture or come back to the video later and look at it. Okay, you can see that the DXY here is long, short, short, on daily is short, and the 4 hour is short. Okay, so at the end of this video, we're still going to come back to this table and refer to this table. However, so we go back to the chart, and the next on the chart is the AUD USD. Okay, the AUD USD, and we'll be looking at it from the monthly time frame as usual. Okay, so what do we have on the monthly time frame? Okay, the monthly time frame established from the last analysis that it is bearish, okay, on the monthly. And then on the weekly right here, we can see that price has actually come into this our supply area, and it is making some rounds, it's making some moves to the downside. You can see the close of this candle, what the AUD USD is doing from this region right here. And then on the daily, okay, you know, we're anticipating price to actually take out one of these zones right here because it is actually in a range, in a consolidation. However, if we go to a lower time frame, which is the 4 hour, we'll see that price have made a push to the downside, okay, by almost eliminating this upward trend line. But however, like we said, for us to establish a decision as to what we're, so we can see that on the weekly, okay, price is also giving us some very, very interesting price action, obeying structures very smoothly. Okay, we can see what price is doing here. Okay, and it is coming here to bounce off. All right, so what are we seeing? All right, you can see some bullish price action to the upside. Okay, and we actually placed an order here from last week. You can see if you go back to our previous video, you see that we placed an order here and price have actually filled us in going to the upside. If you look at the daily, you see that the daily also, this trend line is being eliminated. All right, you can see some consolidating away by this candle here. However, this is called a bullish consolidation, as sorry, a bearish consolidation, as price have refused to price have not yet rather taken out this zone right here. So we're expecting price to take out this zone, come down, and then before we can add some more buying position going to the upside. So we're expecting price to give us some bullish action, buying from demand zones. So we'll be focusing on demand zones going to the upside. All right, then on the daily, okay, on the daily, we can see price also acting beautifully. Price has been behaving. You can see that price have come down to take out this. Can you see this? Let's look at this right here. That's what price is doing right here. Okay, price is acting nicely, and price have come to also remove this bearish trend line to the downside. So once price actually take out this zone right here, before we can establish that okay, the 4 hour is completely bullish by taking out a trend line, a downward trend line, and also taking out the opposing supply area. Okay, so we'll be watching out for price in the coming week. Let's see what price is going to do in the next trading session. All right, so the monthly is bullish, the weekly is bullish, the daily is bearish in consolidation, bearish and also in consolidation. The 4 hour is also bearish, but however, we're also looking for some bullish price action. Let's see what price is going to do if price will come and take out this zone in the coming trading session. All right, so we go to the USD. These are the pairs that we actually were able to get some entries. I think we got about 2 entries. I think we got about 2 entries last week or 3 or so. Okay, so you can see price also playing very nicely from our demand zone on the weekly here. Of course, we've already established that look on the monthly, we have a bullish momentum on the monthly. Price is acting bullish, and then on the weekly is also bullish. All right, you can see that price have come to act nicely from this our weekly demand zone. You can see how price is bouncing off. Okay, so all you have to do in the coming week is to add to our buying positions. Okay, when price give us some demand zones to trade off either on the daily or on the 4 hour. All right, so the daily have taken out. You can see that on the daily price have eliminated this bearish trend line to the downside. It has been eliminated. So we're waiting for price to come and eliminate this zone right here, clear out liquidity and shift the market structure to the upside. All right, so that's it for the daily time frame. And then on the 4 hour, we also expect price to, also take out this zone. The same scenario is playing out on the 4 hour as it is on the daily. If price will come and take out this high, okay, completely, and then give us some bullish price action, create a demand zone, and then go to the upside. All right. So those of us in the mentorship group that have actually taken this trade should be in some very decent profit at the moment. Okay, so please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also click the share button, click the like button, and click on the notification button so that you can always get notified when these videos come out on a weekly basis. Okay, so we move to the next currency pair. Move to the next currency pair, which is the yen basket. The yen basket is next on the list. Okay, we already established that this guy is bearish, and we can see that this zone right here is actually playing out on the monthly time frame. This zone right here is playing out on the monthly time frame. Prices are giving us some decent reaction. Okay, good, selling to the downside. Okay, however, we'll see more details as we head to the daily and the 4 hour time frame. Okay, so please refer to the previous video for more clarity. All right, so now price have been playing out very nicely as that it is still on a bearish downward movement. Okay, so we'll actually be anticipating price to come and take out this zone right here on the daily, on the weekly, and on the daily and on the 4 hour. This have been a bone of contention right here. Okay, been praying for price to come and to do this, take us out and head to the downside. Okay, the target here was that okay, either price take us out right here or price take us up on this side here to see if price will go to the upside. But what we are seeing is that price actually coming to the downside, and then to further reinforce our conviction that yes, price is going to head to the downside. However, we act accordingly. We react to what price is saying. All right, which is the best move for we technical traders. Okay, so then we go down to the daily time frame. You can see that the same zone is actually playing out right here. Okay, so let's also see what price is going to do for us. Let's not forget that in the last class we established this head and shoulder pattern. Shoulder, head, shoulder, on the daily. Okay, so I will know what that means. If price take out this neckline here, it will go down here all the way and then go to the downside. So this head and shoulder is actually what is giving us, a better understanding that price may actually head to the downside. Okay, so the same scenario playing on the 4 hour. Okay, so the 4 hour is also looking to go to the downside also. All right, so just like we've established, all right, from last week, that the monthly is bearish, the weekly is bearish, the daily is bearish and in the bearish consolidation, the daily 4 hour is also bearish and also in a bearish consolidation. All right. So the next on the list, of course, we don't actually trade the XY direct, I mean the JPY index directly. What we trade is the corresponding currency, a corresponding currency like the NZD JPY, which has been our main point of focus for some time now. I think for about 6 weeks, we've been looking at this. So we can see that price actually reacted from this zone on the monthly very nicely and with this bullish pin bar. All right, so we're looking up for price to actually get to this point here on the monthly time frame. Okay, so we go down to the weekly. We've been holding this trade for a while right now. Okay, for I think for the past 4 weeks we've been on this trade. You can see that price actually playing out very nicely. Okay, and then price is actually in this weekly supply zone right now. You can see price reacting. However, from the monthly, we are bullish, and of course, the monthly time frame is the commander in chief. It commands every other time frame. So from the monthly perspective, we're actually bullish here, even though price have eliminated this line, this downward, this bearish trend line from the weekly on the weekly time frame. Okay, but however, we wait for price to come and eliminate this on the weekly, so that we can further confirm that okay, price may want to realign with the monthly time frame and go to the upside. Okay, we keep our fingers crossed as always. And then on the daily, you can see how price is actually playing out. Okay, like I said, this is the trade. If you check our last video from last week, you can see that this trade have been playing out the way we anticipated. All right, though we are getting some reaction from here, but we've also locked in our break even right here, and we are looking for price to still move to the upside while we collect more pips. Okay, so nothing much happened on the 4 hours because it's in the same scenario. So I'll just go straight to another pair. So we're looking at the pound NZD right now. So what happened on the pound NZD is this. Okay, of course we established that the monthly zone is in control. Okay, and we should be expecting some bearish price action to the downside. So you may not see much on the weekly. Okay, as we're actually in this trade at the moment, and price have been ranging. Okay, so we can see what's happening on the weekly. We'll just go straight to the daily because that's where we actually have the detailed price action. So if you look at this, right, you can see that price have been ranging on the daily. Okay, price have been ranging on the daily charts, on the daily time frame. Okay, we actually got into the market from this point right here. Okay, you can see what price did. Price came down for 2 weeks now. Price have been ranging. Okay, and then came back inside our entry points, gave us some decent pips to the downside, and then still went back. Evaporated our pips, and is now in the negative zone, which is our stop loss zone. All right, but we're not going to get invalidated if price comes and take us out at this level here. However, we're still holding this position to the downside. Okay, as on the daily right now. So then we go to the next pair. So the next currency pair we'll be looking at, of course, is the Euro NOK. Okay, we can see that, of course, on the monthly time frame, it is bullish. We established that already. Okay, so from the weekly, you can see that price are now coming to bounce off our zone on the weekly. Okay, and we are targeting a 1:3 on this trade. So we took the whole of this zone on the weekly time frame, right? And we had this very nice bullish engulfing pattern coming off the weekly time frame. All right, then we go to the daily. You can see that price have come to eliminate this line right here. That's this bearish trend line. You can see that it has been eliminated right here. And it has also come out to take out this high right here. So you can confidently say that the daily time frame is bullish. Okay, purely bullish right now. So the same scenario is also playing on the 4 hour. The same scenario is playing on the 4 hour. We can see what price has done. You can see what price has done. Okay, this to this side, this, and then to the downside, and you can see that price have come to take out this zone right there. So we'll be looking for some buying opportunities. You can see that okay, a zone is being created here on the 4 hour. All right, so we'll be looking at this zone to add to our position on the weekly, I mean on the euro knock going forward. Okay, so then we go to the next time frame, which is pound card. Pound card have been acting very funny. Okay, actually, like we established that okay, price is actually reacting of this zone. Okay, price is reacting of this zone right here. All right, this monthly supply zone. Okay, is in control right now. Okay, so we'll just go straight to the daily because this is a position kind of trade, and we'll see a better detail on the weekly, on the I mean on the daily time frame. You can see that price actually in a bullish consolidation, right? Because it has actually kind of eliminated this trend line right here going upwards. This trend line right here going upwards. However, price have actually also reacted from this daily zone, right? So we've been in this trade now for about almost 2 weeks right now. Even though price is moving slowly and gently, but it is actually gaining some grounds to the downside. Okay, so please keep your trade open and don't be in a rush. All right, so we are reacting from this daily zone right here. We expect price to come to this zone right here, probably to this zone right here. Okay, maybe before going to the upside again, we don't know. But however, what price is giving us right now is that it has actually reacted from this zone right here. Okay, so we are in this trade in the mentorship group. All right, at least this one of the profitable trades that we've actually taken in the month of June, and let's see how far it goes. All right, so the next pair we'll be looking at is the AUD, pound AUD. Same also on the monthly time frame. This zone is in control. This supply zone right on the monthly time frame is in control. Okay, so we will go down to the weekly, see what the weekly is doing. The weekly is also bullish. However, this is in a bullish consolidation. Okay, on the weekly, you see a better detail on the daily time frame. All right. So we had this this conundrum from last week. All right. What is that headache? The headache is that we are actually in this trade for a bearish ride. However, we saw price doing this from last week. We saw this right here, an inverse head and shoulder pattern. Okay, to the upside. Okay, however, we also have an opposing supply zone, which we actually traded off from, and we're expecting price to trade all the way to the downside. So, well, the market decides. Okay, the market decides. Let's see what the market is going to do. Let's see what the market is going to do. Whether it's going to go to the downside or it's going to go to the upside. All right. Okay, that's it for the pound AUD. So we go to the next pair, which is gold. Okay, I'm not going to be saying much on gold because from previous analysis, okay, we established that of course gold is bullish on the monthly. Okay, gold is bullish on the monthly time frame, and then on the weekly also it's also bullish on the weekly. But however, where we can only actually draw our analysis better is on the daily time frame. Okay, I actually explained to you guys how I've seen many of you actually trying to sell from this position right there. Yes, as in supply and demand detects that okay, this is a sell position, but like we established from the last analysis, that look, the fundamental and the technical are actually a divergence for the that's for the for gold. All right. So I actually want you guys to desist from actually selling gold because the fundamental is strongly pushing to the upside. Okay. So let's not take this for granted. Okay. Yes, we're getting some selling pressure. Even though we're gonna sell, please don't hold it for anything below this level right here. Okay, or this level right here. All right. Whatever you're doing, like I am myself, I'm actually positioning myself for some more buys to the upside. So I'm gonna stay away from selling this from this selling this asset. Okay, so we're looking at actually placing more buy positions going to the upside. We're not going to respect this supply zone on the daily because the fundamental is actually pointing to the upside for gold. The world is actually in a turmoil right now. There's chaos everywhere. Israel and Iran, Ukraine, and and Russia, okay, and other parts of the country, the trade war between the US and China. Okay, so investors are actually running towards safe haven assets right now. And one of those safe haven assets, which is most pressurized right now by investors, is gold. Everybody's buying gold just to safeguard their investments. Okay, so that is it for the chart analysis. All right, so I refer you back to this our charts. Okay, we've actually this is a summary of all what we've discussed in this week's episode and also in the previous week's episode. So please go back, compare what this Excel sheet, this table is saying with the analysis we've made so far, and make sure that you understand what we've been doing and marry them both. Okay, so I'm wishing all of us a very peaceful week. Let's see what the week have for us. Okay, and please stay disciplined, stay emotionally controlled, stay emotionally balanced, allow prices to do its things. Don't force the market to follow your own narrative, rather follow the narrative of the market. All right. So always swing and chill for peeps. All right. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, click the notification button, click the share button, and also invite your friends as well that are also interested in trading to also stay put to this channel at every given time. So please have a blessed week, have a peaceful week, and of course, we always pray that the peeps will forever be in our favor. All right, have a blessed week and bye.